All right, thank you. So next up, we have the reigning Ring of Honor World Tag Team and World Six-Man Tag Team Champion. He has an opportunity to also leave Madison Square Garden with the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team title. He will team with Villain Enterprises partner Brody King in a four-way tag match against the Briscoes, GOD, and Evil and Sonata. Please welcome PCO.
Hi, Mark. How are everybody?
Hi. Good to talk to you. Welcome. Let's get in with the questions. First one, again, comes from outside, from Chris Featherstone from Pancakes and Power Slam. So the question is, as a three-time WWE Tag Team Champion, you are very aware of the pressure that comes with holding that title now in Ring of Honor. How was the feeling of not only main eventing the 17th anniversary show, but also defeating the Briscoes to capture the tag titles from a major promotion after 25 years?
Well, the pressure is always the same. I always wanted to, as a performer, I think if you don't want to fill the show, I don't think you belong in this business. So you always want to, be the best that you can be, and you always want to perform. And being put on last, that the pressure is even bigger, and it just felt like, if I didn't feel like I was up to the task, I would have been there. But it was exactly the same thing that it was 25 years ago. But yeah, it's exactly the same pressure, but there's two ways to cope with pressure. It's either you can't take it, or whatever, you love it and it becomes your best friend instead of your worst enemy. And that's the way I approach every event, or every pressure matters.
Very good. The next question also is going to come from the outside, from Under the Mat Radio. When you think of MSG, what is your favorite memory from MSG in the past?
My personal favorite memory is my feud with Bret Hart. So I think it was co-main eventing or main eventing. I can't remember exactly if I was before last or last match of the whole evening. But that was a pressure spot. That was like a priceless memory. Working with one of the best in the history of pro wrestling, having a feud with him and being able to perform in front of a live crowd at Madison Square Garden, which I think is the most famous, or the building where there's Elvis Presley performed at, Lady Gaga, Madonna, and so many comedians, artists, and performers. It's probably the building, that most prestigious, or the one that everybody really will mark on their calendar as being a special event, Madison Square Garden in New York. But this one
Right.
For me will top the Bret Hart one. This is the ROH, because this is the funniest and the best time I've ever had, and the moments are the greatest moment of my career right now. This is the most over that I've ever been in the wrestling business, and going to MSG this time around is going to be right up on top of my list from them MSG events, right on top of over Bret and myself, and under Bret and myself, it was the tag belts against 1, 2, 3 Kid, Marty Jannetty.
All right, thank you. Next call, we're going to now get to all of our press friends that are on the line, have been waiting to talk to you. Sean Rossap from Fightful. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, thanks for taking the time. Obviously, you are way more active than you were several years ago. Did you ever think you were going to make it back to Madison Square Garden? And at what point did you look at yourself and say, you know what, I can make this work full time again? I'm going to go for it.
Well, I think if I didn't think I was going to make it in a big time event, like a huge event like that, I don't think I would have come back for no other reasons than that. And the reason is like somewhere last year, just after All In, during All In, I was at Starcast, and when I was doing the demo, like I'm going to do Friday on the Caprice Coleman's pulpit. You know, we're going to be, me and Destro, we're going to be there Friday at 5 p.m. Doing like a big demo of strengths and things like that. So we did that. We did something like that last year at All In during Starcast. And the end of and I remember I was with Baba on this show too right after that, or the following day. And Baba was asking me what was my goal, and I said, like, next year, like, you know, my goal is to be against Undertaker at WrestleMania. Well, I'm not against Undertaker at WrestleMania. People might have thought it was funny last year, but I'm going to meet one of the main event match at MSG as a ROH World Tag Team Champions with Brody King, part of Villain Enterprise, the biggest faction in pro wrestling today. And I think it answers your question right there, because you asked if I thought that I would be back at Madison Square Garden. My goal was to be at WrestleMania. Well, WrestleMania is every 10 years at the Garden. It's been like 60 years. You know, the McMahons are running the Garden, and it was never any other promotion. And being part of this one with Ring of Honor, Super G1 Supercard, all the superstars from Japan, like I got tremendous respect for Kota Ibushi and all the others, and that's just the name that popped out of my mind. And yeah, of course, it's part of the journey. It's part of the goal. If not, I would have come back. I'm coming back. I was coming back because I wanted to impact the business, and that's what happened.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Next up is Jason Frazier from ESPN Radio St. Louis. Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, PCO. Pleasure talking to you today.
Hey, Jason. What's up?
I just, you know, I go back every year and I watch, you know, a history of a lot of the WrestleManias. I was watching WrestleMania 10, ironically, last night. And you went into that event as one half of the tag team champions back then as the Quebecers. You're going into this event again, 25, almost, you know, 20 plus years later. Same venue as one half of the tag team champions. 25 years, you know, half the tag team champions again. What is it like just looking at that kind of milestone for your career, but also comparing your tag partners, you know, just the difference between each partner that you had, you know, with Brody King and Jack Joe?
Well, it's two different words. I mean, Jacques is an excellent worker as far as, you know, great eat seeker, great villain, great heel, and very athletic. I mean, he could like be good in every sports, but not as Brody King. I mean, as far as in the ring, all around work, Brody's fantastic. I mean, he can springboard to the second, straight to the top, cross body. He did some amazing stuff. He's powerful. He's strong. He can fly. He can brawl. He can do it all. You know, it's not a one-dimension guy. He's like he can do it all. And big, 6'6", 300 pounds. You know, so it doesn't come any better than that. So I gotta, and I don't want to take anything away from Jacques. Like, he's great, but he's more a one aspect guy. As compared to Brody King, is like multi talented in different areas of the business. And he could be as good as well on the mic. But I gotta say, Jacques' strength was like mostly, not mostly, but one of his biggest strength was like, getting heat on the microphone too, like on promos. He was really, really good. Like, you really wanted to hate him. That's huge. That's a big difference between the two.
All right, thanks,
Thank you
Jason.
so much for answering.
Thank you.
Next, Bill Pritchard from Russell Zone. Go ahead, Bill.
Hi, PCO. How are you?
Hey, Bill. I'm very good. Yourself?
Good. So I wanted to know, like, how will this event be different from you? And have you given any advice to Brody King about how to take in the experience of working MSG for the first time? Or on the other side, have you talked to Marty maybe about what his thoughts are going into a match on his own without you guys after working so closely together?
We're a very tight group. I mean, we got a great chemistry. We always go for lunch together before or after shows or morning. We travel together, the three of us. We're literally always together, the three of us. But that's one thing that we discussed the MSG show, but I never give them any advice, or they never ask for any advice either. So I take for granted the fact that Marty has worked on several like major big crowd show, and Brody King's always performed like under pressure, like he did in Las Vegas for the tag title number 1, and he's always, like, he's been with Battle of Los Angeles. He's done that. He's done a bunch of PWG shows with there's a lot of pressure there, and you want to perform, and the fans are expecting a lot. And he's always been up to the task. And I think it's not something where you have to give so many advices, because it just comes easier when it's something like the Madison Square Garden, because it's the perfect length of time for a show. Let's say between 3 and 3.5 hours. Like from touring lately, around the United States, Texas, Florida, even like this Sunday in Baltimore, the fans are coming up to us, and they're so excited about the G1 Supercard, and they're going to be pumped. The fans are going to be so pumped, so crazy that all you have to do is just perform as usual and enjoy the moment. I mean, it doesn't come any easier than that, basically. The larger, the bigger is the moment, the easier it is. Well, the only thing that adds pressure is you want to be the best match of the evening. That's the only thing that adds pressure. It's just like Bubba said, everybody should want to try to sell the show. So that's the only pressure. But there's no advices for that. It's just part of the job.
All right. Thanks for your time.
No problem.
All right. Thank you. Next, Gil Kuda from Turnbuckle Talk. Just go ahead, Gil.
Hey, PCO. Thanks for taking the time, man.
No problem, Bill. Thanks.
I gotta ask, as long as you've been in the industry, and now there are, I don't want to say divides from one company to another, but now that you're in Ring of Honor with Villain Enterprises, as you said, the best faction in the world. But I have to ask, is the creative a little different, seeming that it's sort of booked towards, I guess, hardcore fans, so to speak?
If the creative is booking towards more hardcore fans, you're thinking?
I'm just curious. Is ROH as opposed to a more corporate fixture like a WWE? Is it more towards fans that can't get enough of guys like you and Villain Enterprises, and the guys who are up at 3 a.m. watching your compadres in New Japan?
Well, the thing, I'm going to tell you something about creative. I mean, the big difference between the two companies is that I feel I don't want to take anything away from WWE. I'm just going to talk about the good things that ROH. I think they're great. As far as creative goes, they're working hand in hand with talent. Like, they wouldn't ask me to do something if I wouldn't feel like it's part of my character, because my character is already part of my identity, part of my personality. It's an extension of myself. So what you see of me in the ring, the French Canadian Frankenstein, not human. It's a larger part of PCO on a larger scale. You know, it's bigger than life, but that's what I am on a smaller scale in life. That's how I live my life. So when you put me on stage and you put me in the Madison Square Garden, you put 20,000 people, well, I just become bigger and better than everything I do every day of my life, but it still is PCO. And I feel like ROH, they don't ask you to do things that you don't feel comfortable for. The first, when I dealt with them, when I was negotiating for my contract, they said, we want you to be and to stay like you are, like you've been on the indie for the last 2 years. We just want to enhance that and make that look better. So right there, that was something that, you know, I really liked, because it was really a partnership. You know, it's not like something, now you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you have to do this, you have to be this guy. And I think that ROH, they understand that what the fans like, and if they think, okay, the fans are really popping up big for this guy, or for this talent, or for this idea, well, let's give them more of what they like. Let's not try to shove them something down their throat that they don't want to see, or they don't want to hear, or they don't like, and keep pushing this idea because, well, we think we're going to tell them how we should run the business. Well, they're working with the fans as well, and they're working with the talent as well. So I think this is pretty awesome from ROH. I mean, this is one of their strongest points. There's so many things that are strong about ROH, but I really like the fact the way that they're running the business right now.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gil. Next is James Walsh from Wrestling Epicenter. Go ahead, James.
Hey, PCO. Pleasure to talk to you. Big fan. How you doing today?
I'm great, James. Thanks.
All right. So I was a kid in the crowd at WrestleMania 10. And here we are 25 years later. It's kind of already been asked, but I'm going to ask it in a little bit of a different way. How is your headspace different now, going into Madison Square Garden at this stage of your career with a company like Ring of Honor versus wrestling at WrestleMania? How is it different for you personally?
Between the WrestleMania 10 and this show right now,
Yes, sir.
this week, the Supercard, there's so many huge differences. First of all, as a person, of a person that, in order to get my career going the way it is going right now, and to have this huge, fans, the fans that are behind it, and in order to get what I got from the fans, and to be as popular as I became, in all humility, in all humbleness, I had to really work on myself. So I had to become a different person. And so, of course, I think I was really young the first time around, 25 years old. There was a lot of things happening quick. You know, you go from the Indies to WWE, and you know, the fame and the fortune, and, you know, making more money and getting recognized by everybody on the street or everywhere you go, on the airports and things like that. It was like kind of the personality that I had, the person that I was really humble and was really like grateful for everything that was happening in my life. I kind of felt at one point in my career at a younger age that I was becoming better than most of the people in general. I kind of lost that that humility and started to believe in my own publicity or what was happening in my life. Started to take it like, okay, I'm a big superstar now. I'm like, which is now everything that I went through and worked on myself as, probably don't blame the whole world for everything that doesn't go right, and take full responsibilities for everything that happened to you in your life. So with that type of mentality now, going into the MSG Supercard, the G1, it's a total different point of view, the perception for me. I feel 100% that I deserve to be in that card, and I worked hard and disciplined myself and paid a lot of dues in order to be able to be on that card. But the difference is, I'm really grateful, and I'm going to be there with so much humility, very humble, and very happy to be part of it and enjoy every moment of it. And not looking for, okay, what's going to be next now? Okay, I've done this. What's going to be next? Without appreciating what I'm going through at the moment. Of course, I always want more. I want to do better. I want to do bigger arenas and bigger stadiums, and do everything more. But I want to appreciate this moment at the just value as it is. This is the difference. This is the total different sets of mindset's totally different for this one than it was. That's why this is my most fun and important one. I hope I did understand. I hope I did explain to you well enough that you can understand what I meant.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time today, sir, and congratulations on the opportunity and for reinventing yourself. Looking forward to Saturday night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Jeff Martin from bodyslam.net. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, PCO. Finally, a pleasure to get a chance to ask you a question here. So you talk about reinventing yourself. We spoke to Bully Ray about him reinventing himself with the Bully Ray character. How important do you think it is, or what advice would you give wrestlers who right now who maybe feel they're kind of stale or not relating with the fans? You've obviously reinvented yourself. So what advice would you give a younger wrestler that, would seek out your advice about how to maybe possibly relate better with the fans?
Well, I mean, this is just something where you got to keep believing in yourself. That's the main thing. You really don't know when it's going to hit and when it's going to get to the fans. And I always come up with this example. I remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin started as the ringmaster for WWE. I mean, there was no reaction whatsoever. Everybody knew that Steve had been a great talent for WCW as a tag team champions, and that he had like great matches before. But he got let go from WCW, and then he went to ECW, which he did okay. And then I think it was cut out of someone who was talking to Vince and hey, this guy's a good worker, you should hire him. And they hired him as a mechanical, someone that can help enhance other guys and was a good worker, but didn't put any thoughts behind it, nothing special to this guy. So ringmaster, I think they gave him the belt with the DiBiase belt or something like that. But it's the same thing that I did, and probably Steve. It's like you have to keep your vision about yourself and knowing what you want and keep focus on the goal. And no matter what happens, no matter how many times you might fail, you might try something, the fans might reject it, it might not work. If you stay focused and if you really believe in yourself and you really keep your eyes on that vision all the time, eventually the right thing's going to pop up for you. But it's all about fate. But sometimes people, they don't know what fate is. Fate is persistence. Fate is perseverance. That's what is fate. I mean, it's not just opening in your bed, okay, I got the fate. No, it's going through like a bunch of failures, a bunch of tough times, and eventually knowing that it's going to pay off And that's the best advice I can give to any wrestlers. If it's really your passion, if you're really passionate about it, you really love what you do, it doesn't matter how many times you're going to fail. Eventually, you're going to find out what works for you.
Thank you so much.
That's about it.
On Saturday.
My pleasure. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Next, Jim Barcelone from MiamiHerald.com. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, PCO. Just curious, why do you think it's worked for you getting over so much with fans? Is it a combination of the moves that you're doing at the age that you are? Is it just how you present yourself, the ring gear, a little bit of the face paint? Just when you look at it, why do you think it's been such a success reinventing yourself this way and resonating with fans?
I think it's a fruit salad of all of this. It's a good mix of everything. A little bit of grapes, a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of orange. I think you hit it on the nail, though. I mean, the character got over the Frankenstein character. That's a movie that's been around since 1931 that everybody knows. I don't know how many wrestlers that I've seen with a Frankenstein head tattooed on their body, 5 or 6 in the last 2 years. So it's been really like something that's been really in the mind and conscious mind of the every person almost. You know, everybody I've heard or been touched or whatever, heard stories or watched some of the movies, the Frankenstein movies. So I think that's being a strong character and being able to portray that, because it's part of my personality, where I can do crazy things without, you know, getting like seriously injured. I think the fans really dig that because it works with the not being human. I've done a few crazy things before, but as just a human guy, sometimes it didn't make sense. But now, even though if it doesn't seem to make sense, like for an example, I took a huge backdrop from the ram into the side of the apron on my back where my body bends the other way around. And Jim Ross posted something like, why? And he had like, I don't know how many answers, like people were posting because PCO's not human, he's not human, he's not human, he's not human. So that makes sense too. So doing like crazy stuff, and I don't know why, but the people really digging that. And also, it's not like I can only do big stuff like that, dangerous, but I can also work. I can also, you know, do a bunch of things. I can hit a super leg drop on the top rope, you know, frog splash, moonsaults, and all kinds of stuff like that. Dive on the outside can be pretty exciting as well. And I think with the people getting behind the whole thing, it's adding. It goes, you know, in a full circle, like in a vicious circle. The people start to like you. You start to be more charismatic. You're more charismatic. You get more people getting to like you. So it's a very positive, vicious circle. So I think all the ingredients are there. Just like you said, it's a bit of everything. Maybe the makeup. Maybe it brings back. You know, the memories of Demolition or the Road Warriors somewhere, or just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it just touched the unconscious mind of people at a different place. And I think it's, like I said, you know, I've failed so many times trying to come up with a character that was an extension of myself and that would work and that would really get the people to like me. And also, you have to take that in consideration. Failing so many times and always keeping that vision about success in yourself and knowing that you've got everything to make it big, even though nobody believes in you anymore and you still believe in yourself. Eventually, when it pays off, it's like every failures are adding up on top of each other, and when you get success, it's like all those failures turns into a positive and gives you the amount of success that comes with it. So it's a bunch of things together. That's why it's happening like that. That's the way I can explain it to you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks, Jim. Next, Mike Johnson, PW Insider. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, PCO, how are you, sir?
That's great. Thank you, Mike.
Good to talk to you again. You talked a lot about recreating yourself and finding yourself again and being back in this moment. There's been discussion of like what advice you would give to the younger talents about the Garden and things like that. What advice would you give to some of the older talents who wrestled in your era, or maybe in the decade that followed, that have kind of fallen off the pulse and finding their way back to the mainstream the way you have? Like, obviously, your path can't be 100% recreated. Everyone's got a unique personality, and yours works for what you do. But what advice would you give to some of the veterans out there who can still go but aren't getting the attention that you've been lucky enough to get in the last 2 years?
Oh, that's a very good question. I know it's never been asked around like that. It's always what advice can you give to the younger kids? Now you're asking me what advice I can give to the older guys that are like felt like they missed the boat at one point, but they're talented and they can still go, but nobody's like hiring them. Basically, that's your question, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. The thing, if it depends on their vision, it depends on their goal, it depends if they still believe in themselves. That I'm not on the inside, on the mind of anyone else. I can talk for myself, and that's going to help others too by just telling my story. And also, the very important thing that you said at the end of your question is if they are still able to go, and that's the thing. Like most of the guys are getting older. Sometimes they have a replacement, a hip replacement, a knee replacement, and sometimes they're pretty messed up, so they can't go no more. And that was the most important thing for me in order to come back. I knew I had to be better than the 30 and the 35 years old and the 20 years old, or as good as they are. And there was no consideration about coming back if I couldn't perform the way the young kids are performing. I wanted to go head to head with them. That's why and I'm still training with hockey players that are playing junior major hockey league. They're 19 or 20 years old, or any NHL players. That's why I'm training with those guys, because that's the level I need to be at in order to perform. So the thing for the older guys, as it is for the younger guys, are you willing to pay the price? Because there's a price to be paid. You can't just receive. You have to give before you receive. So you have to give a lot. Give a lot of your time. Give a lot of your, I don't know how many hours I spent on the trampoline park in the last 2 years for my moonsault. If I didn't do like 2,000 moonsaults, I didn't do one. I was like there like every day for, when I wasn't on the road. I would go with a private coach. I would spend money on a private coach. I would have someone by me and teaching me and telling me how to do it, or do it like standing up in the trampoline. So I paid a lot of prices, meaning by my efforts and my time. So that's one of the things, are you willing to pay the price? The second thing is what kind of vision you got about what you want to become, what's your goal? If you have taken your eyes off the goal for several years, it's going to take more time to be able to come back and achieve it. So there's a bunch of things like that. But the main message is, if you always believe in yourself and you never stop to believe in yourself, well, it will happen. Just keep on. You gotta. So many factors. Discipline, paying the price, doing all the efforts, everything. 24/7, you have to be thinking about wrestling, pro wrestling. You can't, what makes it harder also for older guys? They have 3 kids, they have a house, they have responsibilities, they have a job. They're not, I was willing to quit any job that I would have. I was willing to take a second mortgage on my house in order to have enough money to just wrestle. Well, those are the risks. Well, and I'm going to answer that by one question. By one question, that's going to give you your answer. It's like, that's my mentality. What would I do if I have all the gold in the world? I'd be a pro wrestler. So I decided to be a pro wrestler all my life in order to have all the gold in the world. Meaning, whatever, belts, money, whatever gold means for you. That's my answer, basically.
All right. Thank you so much, and enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment on
Thank
Saturday.
you very much, Mike.
Talk to you soon, sir.
All right,
Thank
thanks, Mike. Thank you. We're going to take a couple more. Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. Go ahead, Nick.
Hi, PCO. Thank you very much for taking the time today.
All right, Nick. Thanks, man.
Now, my question was if you win the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles with Brody King, how excited are you to potentially go over to Japan and defend those titles and expose the Japanese fans to the PCO character?
I'd be super excited. I'd be super, super excited. I mean, I think the Japanese fans would go crazy over that character, and I think it'd be pretty insane. So I'm super pumped for G1 Supercard, Madison Square Garden, ROH, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I've been to Japan before for All Japan. 2001, I'm working the greats of like Kobashi, Jun Akiyama, Taue, Kawada, Misawa. Work with all those guys. So now this new generation, and also now like the Japanese talent and the American talents are more working together than ever. When I was there, I mean, I could barely talk to my opponent. Like I was not even able to talk to Misawa or Kawada, even shake my hands. So now it's more like, okay, it's a get together more, and it's easier to approach those superstars from Japan. So it'd be an honor for me to go to Japan and defend the IWGP titles, and I know it's a dream for Brody King too. So be awesome to win that.
Cool. Thank you very much, PCO.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Last question. Stu Myrick from 104.9 in Austin. Go ahead, Stu.
PCO, always a pleasure to talk to you. So we've heard a lot about what you've taught some of the younger guys and veterans. What have you learned from being around the likes of a Brody King and a Marty Scurll that has enhanced your career?
This is a very good question, and it's fun too because we were traveling Sunday and we went to eat together, Brody and Marty and myself, and the guys sometimes they're asking me questions. Hey, PCO, have you worked with Undertaker? Yeah, I worked, and I think I main event on a dark match at a TV taping in Poughkeepsie, New York, and it's on constant video. And the PCO, have you worked, let's say, they asked me about my feud with Brad, if I've worked Sean, and names that when they grew up, they were like really high on those guys. And then I tell them, and then they go and they switch it around. It's funny sometimes when you have conversations with guys, how they don't realize where you've been. And I told them, well, guys, it's not the same anymore. The business has changed so much that I can learn from you guys more than they can learn from me. Not talking about Brody and Marty themselves, because we're so close, the three of us together, that we understand each other when I'm talking or when they're talking. But I told them, I learn more from the guys because the business has changed. So I learn mostly by watching them and by hearing what impresses them during a match. Like if they're talking about a match that they like or a particular talent that they like, I'm trying to find what's that thing that drives them into liking this guy or liking that sequence or this match or whatever they might like of. So that's how I'm trying to pick on their brain, and most of the times if I'd be doing like some signings with Brody King as the tag team champion, I would ask him like, you have any ideas for tonight? Just by curiosity, see, what's on his mind, and it's really cool. But like you said, I probably learn more from them than they learn from me. But it's not by question. It's not like asking question and they give me an answer. It's by being really, really focused on what they do and why they're doing things and trying to understand their thinking. That's how I'm analyzing them, but they don't really know that. But that's the way I am. And then I think, just to go a little bit further in your question, it's like I think in order to get success, also, as you progress in this business or you get older and you're working with guys younger, you have to adapt to changes because the business has changed so much that if you cannot adapt to changes, you cannot follow the rhythm. So that's basically the best that I can answer your question. It's by analyzing them. Yeah.
Sounds good, Pierre. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, PCO. We appreciate you taking the time. That's all the time we have for our media call. G1 Supercard airs live from sold out Madison Square Garden, New York City this Saturday, April 6th at 7:30 Eastern through traditional pay-per-view providers and free for all Honor Club members. ROH and New Japan will also present G1 Supercard Festival of Honor this Friday, April 5th at the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden. The event will feature a full day of on-stage entertainment, talent meet and greets, the official G1 Supercard press conference at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and much more. For more information on Ring of Honor, G1 Supercard, and Festival of Honor, please visit ROHWrestling.com or open the ROH app. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you this weekend in New York City. And I look forward to meeting many of you for the first time. Enjoy the rest of your day.